bourbon and boxing.
What is going on, fight fans, man? Welcome back to another episode of Bourbon and Boxing, man. Once again, I am your host, Jeff, and this is
Big Spade, man. What's up? What's up with it, guys?
see, nice. We can hear him this week, guys. You know what I mean? He was fading in and out on us last week. We didn't realize till it was too late, though. We couldn't go back and do the recording again, but
Right.
you know what I mean? We can hear each other this week. We got some good audio going for you guys. First off, man, we want to give a little toast. My boy don't drink, but you know what I mean? He's a
Special
water guy.
occasions. Special occasions.
Special occasions. But yeah, we're on our 50th episode, man. We got our 50th subscriber this week, man. We want to say
Shout
you
out to
know,
the 50th subscriber, man. Shout out to the person that made us have 50 and made that 50 subscriber possible. Shout
that's
out
right,
to
man.
you, man. Thank you. We appreciate
Yeah, I
it.
said it on the last little intro to the episode, man. I said I want to get to 50 before episode 50. We were on 46, man. So thanks for the love, guys. To all, everybody out there supporting the show, man. We want to thank you guys. That's why we keep doing it, man. We're only gonna get better every single week, man. That's how it's gonna go. Let's cheers to this episode, man. My boy probably got some water. Yeah, he likes his water.
I ain't got none right now, but cheers, though. You already know.
Woo, and I bought the good stuff for the show. I got the
Okay.
good. Uncle Nearest.
So what's that whiskey like? See,
Man.
I ain't hip. That whiskey,
All right, let's
that's that cowboy drink, huh?
man, it's a man drink for sure. Like it's one of them like you drink it. You know what I mean? You feel that burn. I like it because I like the different flavors that people do to it. And I also like the
So
backstory.
whiskey is not liquor.
No. Liquor's more of a clear. Whiskey's more of a dark. Right? Liquor's gonna be like your vodka, your tequila, shit like that, like rum, things like that. And then your bourbons and your whiskeys are going to be more of your dark caramelized. Like this is more like a caramelized, like that's a bourbon whiskey. But so for me, like I can't fuck with vodka. I can't like
Also,
tequila, depending on what brand it is. But for me, whiskey, bourbon just has a thing to it. You know what I mean? Like a manly thing. You know how boxing that's a man sport, right? Even
right.
though the women, I can't. There's a lot of these women out there that are badass these days, but we know it's a man sport. Men view this sport, man. We love a gladiator style sport. So what better than a gladiator style drink like
Man,
bourbon?
I'm
You know
gonna
what I
get
mean?
some of that, man.
And it's nice, but you
Man.
gotta sip it. You know what I mean? And know what you're getting. Like for me, like I put it in a little cup like this and just kind
Yeah.
of sip on it. And every now and then I'll chase it with this, but I like
So
to just
like, is it
kind of
like?
get the flavors.
So is whiskey? So whiskey is basically dark. That's what it is.
Yeah. It's like a dark, but it's also the way that it's also distilled. Also, every one of them is distilled differently. Bourbon is mainly distilled in like a charcoal manner, which is
Hmm.
actually brought over from Africa in the 1700s and shit like that. There in slavery, that form was brought over. So a lot of bourbon people don't give it its credit comes from Africa, the distilling of bourbon, because the charcoal is how they used to filter the food and their water in Africa to make sure they were getting clean food and water, and anything that was in it, it would dissolve and get rid of any of the bad shit in the food and water. So when they came over, they also brought that with them, and then it started like with Uncle Nearest here. This dude is a dude who actually worked on a farm, and he didn't get the credit deserved for being one of the first people to do the charcoal filter for bourbon and shit like that.
Hmm.
He was a black slave at the time, and then when he
Okay,
was
Black History Month. Put me on
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, Black History Month. There we go.
Come
And then
on,
Uncle
put me
Nearest,
on something, dear my
yeah,
boy.
yeah, he started that charcoal filtering, and he worked for Jack Daniels for
Okay.
him and his family. To this day, I'm pretty sure the Nearest family still works under Jack Daniels. He taught Jack Daniels everything he knew about bourbon, and that's how Jack Daniels got started. But they started, which was now, and it's actually a lady who started this company up under Uncle Nearest after she found out the history of it and everything like that. because he never did. Jack Daniels never mentioned his name. He never got any love. You know what I mean? Like nobody knew
Yeah.
who Uncle Nearest was, but he was one of the first black master distillers in bourbon history. And he brought in a charcoal filter system, which was brought from Africa and is used to this day. You know what I'm saying? It started in the 1700s in Kentucky, and we all know slavery started in the 1700s in Kentucky. So that's not a coincidence. We know how that goes. They worked
Mhm.
for him and they did stuff like that, and they probably distilled a lot of the bourbon that is put out today. So
I'm gonna
Black
bring some
History Month.
Lobos on the show one day, man.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, bring it.
gonna-
Any drink you're drinking on, man. Whatever you drink on, even if you ain't a bourbon dude, you know what I mean? You
I might
like
not
some
drink it. I
different
might
shit.
just show it off, act like I'm drinking it.
That's me, man. I kind of sip on it, you know what I mean? Like I don't usually do the show. Like we usually do it a little bit later. 5:30 isn't usually my drinking time, but you know what I mean? Like I already got a few shots. I'm good.
Yeah.
So be right. But man, anything what do you want to start the show out with, man? You gave me some big news this week, man. I want you to be the one to drop that for me because I ain't hear anything about it. My wife's had me busy all week. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Kept me away from the computer, kept me away from shit.
Hey,
You know
look,
what I
you
mean?
ain't reply back quick enough. I'm like, man, it's your phone, bro. You ain't getting no
Yeah,
message.
yeah. Yeah, I saw that on a comment, like, "Man, is your phone working?" And the dude
Yeah.
was like, "What?"
But
But
yeah, they had announced that man, this spring, I think like beginning of summer, Frank Martin and Javante Davis, man. That's
now that
action right there, man.
that's a huge fight for PBC. It's a fight that
Woo.
works because they both fight on the, PBC card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Frank I like Frank a lot. Now, this would be a nice little test for Javante, but are we gonna see what kinda level Tank is on?
Oh
Is
yeah.
he gonna showcase the level he is compared to everybody else? You
Yeah.
think this is the fight he uses that? Because we all know Frank is that level, right? We would
Frank
consider
hard.
Frank an elite fighter, in my opinion. What
Yeah.
I've seen of him, the way I've seen like, even in his last fight, man, like, he got so much shit. I can't think the German dude that he fought, and he fought a beautiful fight. He had the guy on the rope several times in the fight, but for some reason, Showtime wanted to convince you that Frank lost that fight. The world wanted to convince everybody that Frank lost that fight. It kinda blew me away because I watched the fight. I went back and watched it a second time just to say, "Man, did I not see something?" Because I saw a fight where Frank had excellent footwork. He reminded me a lot of Loma and his movement, that little
Mm-hmm.
pivot that Loma does to get
Mm-hmm.
behind you. The only thing he wasn't doing was he wasn't firing off after he was doing that pivot. But man, he had a beautiful fight that fight. And like I said, I think he's a different level fighter, elite level, in my opinion. So you think Tank's just gonna what do you think? Does he stand a chance against Gervonta Tank Davis?
I think this one of I think this Tank hardest fight to me. Um Frank Morton very patient. He got power. He athletic. Um I know that they both sparred each other before. So I don't know how that, sparring
Mhm.
ain't really much. But was Tank filling you out, giving you everything? I don't even Tank. I I I I don't think Tank really give these boys everything, especially now. Probably when he was younger, but he done worked on himself. Like when you in competition, you might I'm about to fuck that. I'm about to take off on him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But he been working on himself, so I think he know how to hold his emotions in a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? His
yeah,
frustration, his anger. Um, but I got Tank, man. I ain't going against Tank until I see Tank lose, man. That's just how it is with me. Like I've been a Tank fan for a little minute now. Like this around the same time, Terrence Crawford. I want to say around 2015 when I
yeah.
got hip to him. So both of them. So um, I think it's gonna be a great fight. Man, I'm hoping. I hope it be late summer. It get pushed back a little bit. Um,
Yeah,
because I really do want to go to that fight if I'm capable of going to that fight.
yeah.
Um,
Set that motherfucker up.
man, but yeah, man, I don't know, man. They both explosive, but Tank just got that power that I don't see nobody else with. Like Frank got power. I done seen him damage people, but it's like Tank gotta know something. It gotta be something. Frank doing it for the money. I know he doing it for the money, for one.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say he probably deep down really think he can probably beat uh Javante, but Javante knows something. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He knows
That's
something.
my thing. Is he doing it for the money because he turned 8 million down to fight Shakur?
Who Frank?
Yeah. He
He
turned
probably
eight
gonna make
million
he probably
down
gonna
to
double
fight
that.
Shakur. You think he's gonna double that
He
with
probably gonna
Javante? Well, I
double
mean,
that.
well, yeah, because he's got the best pay-per-view sales, all that other shit. He does sell tickets. You think this is a pay-per-view fight?
Hell yeah, Tank. It's
Oh
Tank.
yeah, for sure. Even with PBC being new on Amazon,
Let me tell you what
you
people.
still put this as a pay-per-view fight.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you what people doing right now. That's not hip to Frank. They probably going back and watching it since it's been announced. Like, let me see who the fuck. Oh yeah, he. Damn. Watching highlights. Oh yeah,
Mhm.
people ain't hip, so they. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
they
if you're not hip to
doing
Frank
that.
Martin, go watch him. Even his last fight, I want to say the guy's name
When
was
he
like
fought Ali.
Benavidez or something like that. The last fight that he had against that German dude, he was a tough dude, but Frank dominated that whole goddamn fight, dude. And but my thing, man, with Javante, he's so calculated. He's like almost
Oh
like
yeah, you saying
like
him doing the
we talked about a
calculation?
lion. We
Oh
talked
yeah,
about a lion on his prey.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, he's calculated. It's like
yeah,
he's setting it up. He's
yeah.
letting the dude, like, feel like, he's gaining like, he gives these fighters confidence as if they're doing something against him. He makes them feel like, almost like, like you said, he's trapping them in. It's hard to describe, like, but you can tell he's a very smart fighter. That he goes in, like, his mind isn't like other fighters, and you don't know what the hell he's thinking because he doesn't have that how people have a poker face, right?
Right,
They'll tell all their cards by
right,
one look.
right.
He doesn't have that. He's like a
Nope.
stone-faced killer, like a
Yep.
stone-faced killer, man. Like, you don't
Yep.
know what the fuck he's gonna do, what he's thinking, what
Mm-hmm.
his next move is,
He's
because 'cause he'll
smart, man.
showboat one round, he'll step back another round.
He's smart.
You know, unbelievably and, like, he's unbelievably smart as a fighter, and I think that's what makes him, an elite level like Crawford and them guys. I think, like you said, Frank's gonna give him a hell of a fight, but Tank, like you said, I'm not going against him until he loses, and I really don't see anybody beating Tank anytime soon, unless he decides to jump up levels that, what I mean, that he's not capable of. Because the thing with Tank is I think he can go 140.
Mhm.
Any higher than 140 is dangerous because of his size. He's not built to be 147, 154. He's not built for that.
Yeah.
I mean, his body size and all that kind of
Yeah, he a
stuff.
little
But
tank. A little tank.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
fragile.
little tank. Yeah, his
You know what
name
I'm saying?
says it all. Yeah, but man, that's a huge announcement for PBC, who is, like we said, they're on trying to find different networks because their stable's so huge at the time that they're trying to find different people to be able to carry, because I think they fear Amazon doesn't have the platform to carry all this at the moment. They have the subscribers, what they say, like over 200 million subscribers, something like that. So, that's a ridiculous amount, but you set that up after a Tszyu and Thurman fight going into the summertime,
That's
you're kinda
nice.
setting yourself up.
That's
Yeah, yeah,
nice.
yeah. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
nice.
that's the way you kinda wanna kick it off,
Yeah, that's
with
nice.
that with those type of fights, introducing people the right way to the sport of boxing, and,
Can I think ahead right now, real quick?
go ahead, man.
Okay.
We'll call this the
That
genie
come after
moment.
the summer. You know what we probably could get? Uh if he win. If he beat Rolly, we could get a Isaac Cruz versus uh Tank, Javante Davis, second.
Be the second
That is
fight.
in it is sell. If you
Yeah,
get
oh,
that
yeah.
belt
Yeah, 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 yeah,
and he really punish Rolly, that could be a
yeah,
possible fight for Tank to take that 140
yeah.
belt. And then we come and get Devin Haney.
But then what happens with, because look, man, people are not realizing that old man Barossa is in the background. Do you
Hmm.
know about this old dude? Have you seen this guy? The
Mm.
one that Rolly lost to.
Oh yeah, that hit
He
hard.
stopped the fucking fight.
That hit hard.
This old, and then he just knocked the fuck out of Golden Boy's new signing out of the UK. This
Oh yeah,
dude
he
called
won it,
himself
didn't
the
he?
Tank also, and he knocked this dude in the first motherfucking round, whooped this
Yeah,
dude's
I
ass.
seen that.
Now, man, this dude, like, how old do you think he is? Like, he says he's 40.
I think they said he was like 36. He wasn't that.
He said he's 40. That's what he
Oh, he's
claims. He's
40.
40, like 40 something years old. He ain't disclosed. He's in his 40s is all he's telling people. He looks
So
old as hell.
they don't know how old he is?
Yeah. Yeah, he's it's weird because it kind of came out of nowhere. He's always had power, according to what, his camp, everybody says about the guy. But look, if if Pitbull Cruz beats Rolly,
Mm-hmm.
he's obviously going to have to fight Barossa. Barossa is going to be the mandatory for whoever wins.
Oh, the
And
old
that,
man. That's his name.
yeah, because that's what, in my opinion, that would have screwed up any plan that Ryan Garcia had. Because Ryan thought he'd go fight Rolly, grab the belt from Rolly, have a belt, then go fight Devin to make that fight more,
Yeah.
amicable. More people are going to, both of them have belts. Belts are on the line. It makes a better fight. That's what his plans were. And Floyd actually put that in his head. Go fight Rolly, get the belt from Rolly, then go fight Devin. You got something to offer. But Barossa is the mandatory. And they've made it clear that they're going to make whoever wins against Rolly is going to have to fight Barossa. So if it's Rolly or Cruz, they have to fight this old man. You know what I
But you
mean?
know
Like,
how boxing is. People ain't fighting their mandatory.
they're not, but certain, like, hold on, what belt is on the line? What belt does Rolly have? Is it the IBF?
I don't think it's yeah. Is it?
If he holds the IBF belt, then he has no choice because the IBF doesn't play around. If they set a mandatory, they make you fight that mandatory or they
Let me
take
look
your
that
belt
up.
away from you. So I have to look up what belt that he actually has.
I'm about to look it up for us right now.
Yeah, if he has the IBF belt, then they're going to stick to that ruling of Barrosa. But if they don't, if he has like the WBC or WBA belt uh, or WBO, then they're not going to force anything. Like you said, he'll be able to go
He got the
fight whoever he
WBA.
wants.
He
He's got the
W.
WBA. Yeah, they're not going to force anything. So they won't. And, that's kind of crazy because I feel like Barossa kind of deserves that opportunity to fight for a belt. But at the same time, as a boxing fan, I want to see anybody have an opportunity to become a champ. But Barossa's not a guy that's going to sell tickets. You know what I mean?
Not for PBC to come off of Keith Thurman and a Keith Thurman and a Tazoo and then jump to a Rolly and a Pit Bull. That won't be
And
no.
then you got to
Yeah,
throw Barossa in there. Yeah,
he would have
yeah.
to fight someone else to prove himself, like somebody strong.
Yeah.
From PBC for somebody to want to buy tickets to that fight because don't nobody really remember, dude. All we remember is he fought Rolly. You know what I'm saying?
He
And
beat Rolly.
He
Like,
won.
he was beating Rolly. The
Yeah.
fight was stopped. So I'm not saying that he would have knocked Rolly out at some point, but he was winning that fight before it was stopped. It sucked that he was robbed of that opportunity. I was glad to see they gave him another opportunity against a young star the way that they did, and then him coming out doing what he did. But to me, like he doesn't. The thing with boxing is they're going to look at this guy and say he's not going to sell tickets. We don't want to see him as a champ,
Right.
and they're going to find ways to go around him getting that mandatory. You know what I mean? Like they'll find, like you said, they'll rob him of any opportunity. They'll make him fight other, well, prove yourself again. And then if he knocks the next guy out, how do you keep denying him of that opportunity?
He ain't got the crowd right now too, though. You got to think he ain't got the
Yeah.
crowd behind him. Like
He doesn't, because even when he's being old, people are just like,
Bull, he earned the crowd behind him. Rolly, he don't got the crowd behind him, but they know he goofy. He know how to sell. He know how to
he
talk.
knows how to sell a fight. Yeah.
You know
Barossa.
then to jump back real quick on the Frank Martin versus Javante Davis. Did you see him fight Michael Rivera? He called himself Ali.
Yeah.
You seen how patient fake Frank Martin was and how good he looked. Now, if he come out patient and how he fought Michael Rivera, that's gonna be a hell of a fight for him and Tank. But I just see him. I see Tank hurting him.
I
Power
do too
wise, I
because I
just
feel
see
like
Tank.
his frame is smaller. Like Tank has this weird. I mean, his name Tank. He's built like a fucking tank. He's broad, so
Yeah.
he almost has like this thickness to him. Tank or Frank seems to be a little bit smaller build. At one, he fits 135
Nah,
perfect.
man.
He fits
Frank
135
be
good, I think.
cut up. Frank look like he supposed to be 147 when he
You think
come.
he could be 147? I see him as such a
Man,
smaller
what?
guy.
You ain't never seen
What's
him?
his height? What's his height?
I
Because he
don't
looks like a
know.
smaller guy. Like when
Man,
I
no.
watched him in his last fight, I want to
Dude
say the
be
guy's
cut
name
the
was like
fuck up.
Benavidez or something. Like him a be a or some weird motherfucking name this guy had that he fought last. Go check out that fight, which was a really, really good fight. But he got a lot of criticism for that fight. That's
I
the
know what
fight.
you're talking about. I
Yeah,
know
that's the one they're like, oh, he
exactly
lost.
what
And I'm
fight
like,
you're
he
talking
didn't
about.
lose the fight by any means. He
Yeah,
fought a
nah,
good
he ain't
fight.
lose, but you know what people
I
want to
mean,
see? They
he
want to see
hurt dude 4
knockouts,
times.
bro. That's all they want to see. Knockouts. When you ain't knocking,
I
when you
get
known
that.
from knocking it or dropping somebody, that's what they want to see.
I
They want to
get
see
that.
that.
But how like blatantly they were ignoring that he had the guy hurt 4 times. Not 1 time, not 2 times, not 3 4 different times he had this guy on the ropes hurt. Not 1 time was Frank Martin hurt in that fight by his opponent. He was never even in trouble the entire fight, but Showtime, the announcers really try to sell it as he lost that fight. And I just like I was like, "Man, you gave the public the wrong view of what that fight really was." Like, I was like, "Man, maybe I'm just a Frank Martin fan, and I was blinded to what I saw." So let me go
It
back
be
and
like that
rewatch this
sometimes.
shit.
It be
Yeah,
like that
exactly. Because
sometimes.
sometimes your fan, you got your fan glasses on.
Yeah,
You
it
see
be like
everything
that.
as a fan. You're watching your guy. You're not really watching the other guy. I find
Yeah,
myself doing that sometimes, and I'll have to be like, "Oh, no, man, watch both dudes because you're just watching the guy you like, so it's gonna be a
yeah,
one-sided
bias,
fight for you."
being biased. That's all.
Yeah, being biased.
I'm gonna be honest. I ain't even watched that fight because I was being biased. Like, oh, he gonna beat the fuck out of dude.
That's what
You know what
I
I'm
mean,
saying?
dude wasn't a bad fighter, but he wasn't the level
It's
they
just
try to
like
fucking
that
make
too.
him, bro.
Like
Like, it just
it just it be like that when you don't know the fighter and they ain't making good fights. You be like, oh, he should win that. You know what I'm saying? It make you not even want to really watch it, even though you
yeah.
a boxer fan. I love boxing, but sometimes it just be like, I'd rather get some sleep because I know he gonna win. Like I ain't watched the Cabosas and Devin Haney's second fight. I knew he was
I
gonna
mean,
win. I went to sleep.
yeah,
Like man,
yeah.
he gonna
I
beat him
watched it
and
just so
beat
I
him
could
up the
watch him get
same
a
way.
whooping on the Buster Douglas of our generation.
Huh?
Cabosa. Cabosa is I call Cabosa the Buster Douglas of our generation. He's a 10-minute champ. He got the belt in a weird fashion. You
We
know what
got
I
a
mean?
couple of them, man. He ain't
Yeah,
the
but
only
I
one
really
out
feel like Cabosa was that day. Like, look at he lost against Maxie Hughes, right? To get the belt he has right now, right? He fought Maxie Hughes, who beat him in a decision, but they still gave it to Cabosa.
Oh yeah, dude, beat
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
Dude beat
yeah,
him.
yeah,
I like him, man.
yeah, and he's got a fight coming up. I guess they're trying to get,
I know
a little
exactly
get
who you're
back.
talking about. He a
Yeah,
southpaw too. I
yeah.
like him.
So, yeah, he
He
lost.
beat
He
Cabosas.
beat Cabosas, but they robbed him in front of his whole family, everybody. They robbed him in front of
And
the
what
whole
was it?
country.
Not to cut you off, but who was the dude that Tino Fimo fought at 140 his first fight?
Sandor Martin,
He
or did he
couldn't
fight
take.
him at 135?
No, I don't know. This was his first coming out at 140. I'm about to look.
But the
I
dude
like
gave him
him
a pretty
too.
good little fight. Yeah, dude
I
gave him
like
a
him
pretty good
too.
little fight. I know who you're talking about. I know Sandor Martin gave him a hell of a fight. You could have really maybe gave that fight to Martin. And then the next guy he fought at 140, was it Ramirez? Wasn't the
Uh-uh.
Ramirez dude, was it?
No, Ramirez Mexican, man.
Yeah, he's the dude that lost to Regis Prograde. Beautiful knockout. He lost to Josh Taylor too, I think.
No, it wasn't his first. Was it? I don't think. No, it wasn't his first fight. I think it was his second fight. I
His
got it.
second fight, I want to say, was Josh Taylor. He put a
Yeah.
whooping on Taylor, bro.
Nah, who was dude? Remember when he was like, "Do I still got it?" When he was questioning himself, like, "Do I still got it?"
Yeah. I remember that. It was coming off. What was it coming off that Cabosa loss? Moving on because he didn't fight back at 135 after that loss to Cabosa. Which I don't know how he didn't have a mandatory rematch clause in
Oh
that one.
yeah, Sander Martin,
Yeah, it was Sandor Martin.
Sandor Martin.
Yeah. That's who I thought it was.
Yeah,
And he could have he you could have gave
yeah.
Sandor that. You could have gave Martin that fight, honestly.
Could have. You definitely. He couldn't cut off the ring. He
No,
did.
well, that's the thing. I was talking to a guy this week, man. If you're Teofimo Lopez, you're obviously going to be the A side on most of your fights, right?
Mm-hmm,
So you
mm-hmm,
have the right to say, I want a smaller ring. So that way, like you have an issue cutting the ring off. Ask for a smaller ring that benefits you, being able to make it easier for you to cut that ring off. Doesn't make
mm-hmm,
sense that like if you look at the ring that him and Ortiz fought in, it was huge. It was like
mm.
the biggest ring you could possibly get. I'm
Right.
like, who asked for this fucking ring? This dude's got a football field to run around on, bro. Like, like that's not smart if you can't cut the ring off. Like that's little things that him and his camp
And
have to
that's something
start
I learned
realizing
too
and
about.
noticing. Like, like his dad needs to start saying, hey, if he's going to be the one in charge of all that shit, he's got to know his son in a better way of what kind of fighter he really is.
Yeah. That's something I learned new in boxing though. I ain't know I learned it with Caleb Plant.
Yeah,
But I ain't know you can get different size rings.
yeah.
I
You're
learned
the
that
A
with
side,
Caleb
man.
Plant and David Benavidez. Caleb Plant
Yeah,
wanted the bigger ring, so it can,
yeah.
I ain't know like how many size rings do they get?
That's my thing too, though. But that's
Like do
another
them
thing
bitches
that
come
comes in the reform
small,
of boxing.
medium,
Like,
extra large, what?
well, yeah. I want a medium extra large. I want a medium ring. you
Yeah,
know.
like I ain't
Um,
getting that. It should
well,
be
if you
one
look at
size fit all. Huh?
Canelo always fights in a smaller ring because
Canelo,
he determines, because he uses it
he gonna
to
walk you down.
corner dudes. He's
Yeah,
gonna walk you into
yeah,
a corner and beat up your
hmm
body. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And he knows with a bigger ring, he's less liable to be able to do that. And a
hmm
small ring, he gets you to fight his fight because he's able to corner you and get you off of your game. You can't fight off your back foot if
right,
you ain't got the room to fucking do it.
right,
So yeah, like that's something that I kind of learned too. And I'm like you, like how many fucking ring sizes can there be? Like how big can you make it? Like that ring
right.
that Ortiz and Teo fought in, that was fucking huge.
Yeah,
Like I felt like dude had massive amount of ring. Like there was no way Teo was not cutting that ring off. Like
right.
he was lunging to try to get the dude, and that was that much space between them. There should never be that much space between a fighter. You know what I
hmm
mean? Like I believe in a smaller ring. You know what I mean? Make these guys meet up in the middle and bang it out, right? Like that's the best fights. That's the fights that get me on my feet and get me hyped, get me yelling. And my wife's like, "Shut up!" And I'm like, "You shut up, motherfucker." Tell me what. You know what I mean? But I do it real quiet so she don't hear me. You know what I'm saying? Under
Yeah.
my breath, like you shut up, Mo.
Yeah, man.
But
But
yeah, any other news, man, that you can think of right now?
oh yeah, Benavidez moving up to 175.
Now that right there, that's
I ain't
he's
want him.
got the
I did not
size.
want him to do it yet, man.
No, because I think David Morrell is still a fight that he should fight at 168 because that's a 50-50 fight, in my opinion, with how good Morrell is. And then if he can get the Canelo fight. But if you can't get that, why not go after the big? Because they said that if he decides to take that, fight against a dude at 175, that he could be next as an automatic mandatory for the winner of Bivol and Better
Yeah,
Beef.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
So that's a money fight. So if he
hmm
can't get Canelo to sign on, you got to go to what's next at his superstar level, at his status. You got to say fuck you. I'm not going to stay stagnant. You aren't going to determine my career.
Guess who about to
I'm going to
else?
determine my career.
Guess who else about to have to do that?
Who's that?
Boots.
Honestly, yeah.
Boots.
What is that? Like honestly, there's nothing. There's no. I like as a boxing fan. I love 147.
I can't
I like
escape
the
them.
fighters at 147, right? I like Crawley. I like Crowder. I like Mario Barros. I like the 147 division, especially if Conor Benn comes back down to 147. I
Right.
love that division, but none of those are superstar names.
Yeah.
The public, the real like non-boxing fans, they don't know who these guys are.
Right.
So if you decide that, hey, I'm going to go to 154, you chase Crawford 154, Spence at 154, Tim Tszyu at 154, Virgil Ortiz at 154, and Charlo at 154. That's an amazing division.
Right.
Then you can make some real money fights in that division.
Right.
It's smart. It'd be smart on his part. I mean, if you can't get, well, we talked about Benavidez. You can't get the money fight you want. You can't get Canelo. Then you got to go to what's your best decision. To where you can make that money with with bigger, better fights.
Yeah. I think they both in the same position though. Not
Yeah.
bad for not as bad for Boots as it is for David Benavidez. Because I feel like, yeah, you fighting all these other motherfuckers. Why not fight David? You know
It
what I'm
makes
saying?
no sense, bro.
The situation is the same, but it's different. You get what I'm saying? Because you been had these belts and you fighting all these other motherfuckers. I can see now Terrence Crawford had a belt. Now he fighting Ugas and this. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Then it'll be different. But Terrence just got the belt. You've been a champ at that weight for a long time now. Dude been calling you out. He done had belts and lost them due to shit he was doing. But at the same time, he deserved to fight. Fight him.
Yeah,
Everybody want
everybody
to
wants
see it. Everybody don't want to see. Everybody don't want to see Boots versus Terrence. To be
no,
honest,
no,
everyone
exactly,
don't want to see that.
exactly.
But everybody want to see
Everybody wants to
David
see.
Benavidez versus Canelo.
Say it again. Say it again.
Everybody want to see David Benavidez versus Canelo.
Yes, you hear that, boxing world? Give us the fucking fight, bro. Make Canelo take that goddamn fight. Now, in March, Benavidez is going to be the WBC mandatory. We all know the WBC. I got the president of the WBC on my Facebook, and I want to call his ass out. Like, bruh, make this fight happen. Force
Yeah.
it. Take Canelo's belt and punish him if he doesn't. Because, I mean, think about it. Like, what reason do you have not to take this fight? Like, he uses it as an excuse for everything, right? He says, if I fight Crawford, he's the smaller fighter, and if I beat him, there's no credit for me there. Everybody's going to say he was smaller, and I cherry picked him. What's your excuse for David Benavidez? Now, did you hear what his trainer said? His trainer, the way he made it sound as if they were afraid of Benavidez because he could lose that fight. That's a 50-50 fight. And at this point in his career, he has to make the decisions that best fit him. That sounds like you need to retire, is what it sounds like to me. What's your thoughts? Like,
He a hoe.
plain and simple,
He a
bro. Plain
hoe.
and fucking
He
simple,
a
bro.
hoe.
That's hoe
I'm
shit.
taking a
That's hoe shit.
shout out to Cam and Mace, man. I'm being brutal. Like, you ever seen what it is? It is what it is. You gotta
Yes.
watch them, man. Cameron and Mace,
I'm
the
gonna have to
rappers.
check them out, bro. I'm gonna have
You
to check
gotta,
them out.
bruh.
But
They
that's
be
real shit right there. That's hoe shit.
he a
You
hoe.
are acting like a
You a
hoe
hoe.
when that's a fight that can make your legacy. You want to prove that you're one of the best to ever motherfucking fight. So if you're at the point that where you want to cherry pick the motherfucking boxing, then go into retirement. Do expedition fights and make your money that way because we know he could the same way Floyd
I
does,
don't
right?
even watch, dude. I'm gonna be.
He's a boring
I look
motherfucking
before
fighter,
I
bro.
thought Canelo. Before I knew Canelo was Mexican, I used to just think he was a white dude with red hair. I
Yeah,
used
a
to be
little
like,
white
that
Irish
little
dude.
white dude,
Yeah.
bad to the motherfucker,
Yeah.
right?
And then he talks.
After that, I ain't fucking with him after the steroid shit. Like once
Yeah,
I heard that any type of form of cheating, I ain't fucking with that shit. I don't give a
yeah,
fuck. And
and
ain't no
I agree
redeeming
with you.
yourself. It ain't no. I would never like Oscar Valdez. Nothing. I want to see you lose because you're a cheater. That's
Yeah,
just how I am. You know what I'm saying? I don't like cheating when motherfuckers really putting their blood and sweat and tears in, and then you act like I don't know how I did. Man, both of y'all the
yeah, yeah,
same.
yeah,
Y'all was in the
yeah.
same camp, and y'all. You know what I'm saying? So no. And then it's just like, bruh, like, I don't know, man. Like the motherfuckers you fighting, I don't even like the rider, whatever the fuck. I didn't know who dude was. I don't know him. Like,
Well, what pisses me off is that everybody was trying to give him credit for that fight. Oh, Ryder's tough. Ryder's he's not like Ryder was Ryder. We all knew he was going to beat Ryder. He's a
right,
boring fighter.
right,
You know what I mean? There was nothing about Ryder that anybody thought, "Oh, man, he definitely threatens." Like, this is what's wrong with boxing. A guy like Ryder should have never been the fucking mandatory for
right,
anybody at 168.
right. Like, who the
Never.
fuck
I'm
is
like, how the
that?
fuck is this? Like, what has he done to be the mandatory? He had like 3 or 4 losses on his record. So it's just like, how like, he should have never been the mandatory at 168. So who's making these rules to say this guy's a mandatory? You know what I mean? When you have guys like Benavidez out there, just because he had a weight issue and lost his belts, like that's what caused him to get thrown back
That
5
was one
fucking
time.
years.
That was one
One
time.
one
But
time,
you
and
know,
it
the
threw
other
him
one, he
back.
was doing cocaine. That's what they were saying.
Well, cocaine, is a hell of a drug, like
I'm
Rick
just
James
saying though. I'm
said.
just saying he was young
You know?
too though.
But
I
it
ain't
it
saying
was
nothing bad
stupid, no
about it.
reason
Or
to punish him for
that
life.
was his
You know
shit.
what I
He
mean?
got past it. I'm just saying. You know, he lost it too. Lost it too. That's how good. I'm basically saying that's how good this guy is.
Yes, exactly. So, and we
At a
can't.
young age, the youngest, I want to say, super middleweight champion at the
Yeah.
time.
So, yeah, I
So
mean, we can't punish this dude for his past this whole time, and then,
I
like,
ain't
now
punishing
he's
shit.
just
That's my
becoming a
boy.
mandatory.
That's
Yeah,
my boy.
he should have
He
been the
make top of
mandatory.
the list. He top 5 of my favorite fighters right now. Matter of
Yeah,
fact, let's do. Let me ask who your top 5 boxers right now.
man. I go through this list in my head probably every single day.
Well, I
You
got
know,
your ass today.
it
Let's
kinda
go.
bounces for me. Of course, I got Terrence Crawford as my
Uh huh.
number 1 fighter out there. I got Inoue as my 2nd. I got Devin Haney as my 3rd.
Okay.
People sleep on Devin, bro. I'm telling you right now, his boxing ability, his
Not bad.
IQ, his dad is a genius. He
Hmm.
has put him through I don't know how many different trainers. And not to just take him from a guy and put him with an it was to teach him different techniques, and
Yeah,
his
yeah.
ability in the ring is unmotherfucking real, dude. People that like, I had a guy, my neighbor, he hates him. He's like, "Man, he's not." I'm like, "Dude, Devin's a beast. Don't sleep on like, Devin's a
You know,
beast." So
I
I
was
got
biased
Devin.
because he was coming for Tank and shit, but he proved me like, dude, great. Yeah. I used to like him
Dude, he's
before this all the Tank and him and start beefing. I was fucking with him, and then I'm like, bro, you
yeah,
doing too much, bro. But it's
yeah.
boxing. But yeah, go ahead
Num
though.
Number 4, one of my favorites, Jesse Bam Rodriguez. He's a bad mamma jamma, clearing out he's like a flyweight, smaller guy. Just clearing out the motherfucking divisions. I'm hoping he gets that Estrada fight next. That'll be the fight for him. But he's my 4th favorite right now. I would have him as my 4th best fighter. Uh,
You ain't even have to
number
put them in no order.
number 5 though. Oh man, who am I gonna have at 5? I mean, Teo's mental takes him completely out of the picture. He can't control himself enough. He's got the ability to
Who?
be Teofimo Lopez. He's got the ability to be one of the best out there. His mental takes him out of it. His dad hyping him up the way he does. He causes him to lose fights, basically. Uh, so I had to take him out. I can't put Usyk in my top 5 just because the heavyweight division is weak, in my opinion.
Man, he got hit with that body shot, and man, fuck him.
So you got to go with the obvious. Man, that's so hard. I'll go with Benavidez at 5 for sure. Because
I ain't gonna put mine in no
it's the
order.
dude making an honorable mention. Uh, Yeah, go with yours. Who you got top five?
You know, I got Terrence.
Yeah.
I got Javante, Shakur,
Oh man, how the fuck did I leave Chase?
David,
Uh-huh.
Benavidez, and 5, Abdullah Mason.
That's a good one to put in there, man. Like mine is basically based off my who I like. Tank is definitely one of the top fighters out there for me to even leave him
Nah,
out.
that's who
But
I like.
still,
That's
yeah,
like
yeah,
my
yeah.
like. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
so
That's
yeah,
like who I
that's why
think
I'm at
top
too.
5
So
right now.
for people who think I don't think Tank's a top fighter, Tank is definitely a pound for pound fighter.
Yeah,
I
for
also
sure.
think Shakur is a pound for pound fighter. I've been putting him as my top and right at the number 10 for the longest time in my pound per pound list.
Mhm.
Even with that showing, like we said, he was hurt, bro. Like he's gonna redeem himself on that fight. I really truly believe he will. But yeah, I like that list. That's a nice little list, man. I like Abdullah Mason in there because I didn't have any young guys in it. Well, Bam's young, but not young like Abdullah Mason is.
I gotta
That's a
put
good.
Ohio in there.
Yeah. Abdullah, yeah. We got to rep. Man,
I
I should
wanted
have
to
put
put Keyshawn in there, but I had to throw the Ohio in there.
yeah. I was thinking Ohio wise, definitely got to go with Big Baby Anderson. Uh,
Oh
man, I've been
shit!
loving my dude. Been loving my guy.
Damn. I
Yeah.
forgot about Big Baby. Now
Yeah.
I got to see something else out of Big Baby though.
I got it.
I got to
Well,
see something
I
else.
tell you, he was tested. Now, what he needs to stop doing is that motherfucking that not the step
Leaning
back,
back.
that lean back. He's got to stop with that fucking lean back because a bigger, heavier fighter is gonna catch his ass and sleep him with that bullshit, bro. That's his last fight. I was like, let's see if he's
But he
fixed
got
that.
adversity.
Yeah.
I
Boy, he's
want
got
to
the
see
hands. He's got
adversity out of
adversity.
these
He's got the
fighters. When
power.
you can show me
Yeah.
adversity,
Yeah.
oh my God. And you could come back. But I'm gonna
Martin's
tell
a
you
tough
one
fighter,
thing he
bro.
messed up in that fight too. That I'm like, why did he do this? And I'm gonna tell you. He went from orthodox to southpaw, right? Fought him southpaw, putting it on him.
Mhm.
Go back to orthodox. And he asked somebody like, what way should I come out? And somebody told him orthodox. No, you should have stayed at southpaw.
Stay with what was
Ain't that,
working for you.
didn't he drop him? That's when he dropped him at
Well, that's when
southpaw.
he hit him with that jab overhand,
Yeah.
and he leaned back and got caught with the overhand,
No, not
right.
Jared, not Jared. I'm talking about when Jared dropped him. You
Oh,
know,
okay.
Jared dropped
Yeah,
him.
he was in a southpaw position.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was in
And
a
he
southpaw
dude
position.
wasn't
Yeah.
touching him. Dude was touching him southpaw when he was leaning back.
Yeah.
I mean, no, orthodox. When
Yeah.
he was leaning back orthodox, see, when he was southpaw, he could get up under that shit because
Yeah.
his strong hand is coming. So you seeing that shit. He should have stayed he should have stayed southpaw. He
Yeah.
go back. Look, when you get time, just go back and you're gonna see what I'm talking about. And you
Yeah.
watch if you watch the whole fight, you're gonna see him ask somebody like, "What?" I don't know. He asked if it was Shakur, who it was, somebody in the crowd, like, which way?" And they
Yeah, they should have
told
had him
him
stay
go
with
back
that southpaw.
orthodox. No, you should have stayed southpaw. He couldn't fuck with you.
I
He
think
wasn't
his
even getting he wasn't landing that big shot no more. You took it away from him. You
his
know what I'm saying?
concentration is an issue too, if you see him looking up at the clock, and it's like, what's he doing? Like, he doesn't finish as well as I think he should. Like, he looks up and, like, you'll see him, like, he'll fight the first minute and a half of a fight just kinda lackadaisical, you
Yeah,
know? And then he looks up at the clock, and you see his eyes look at the clock,
yeah,
and then he starts to try to put it on, and I'm
yeah.
like, "Bro, get that out of your head and
Mm-hmm.
start that way. Start out on an attack, don't worry about the time. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
hear the at some
Mm-hmm.
point to let you know there's 10 seconds left in that round. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? 30 seconds, however they do it. You're gonna hear that. So stop looking at the clock, stop leaning back, and he's a vicious heavyweight. If he fixes the small little flaws that he does have, you know what I mean? And I'm sure he will. I'm sure he'll go back to the drawing board. We get to see him again against a pretty decent British dude that he's fighting. It's not pretty bad.
I ain't
So
hip
that'll
to
be
him,
a
but I'm
nice
gonna
little
watch it because it's Jared. But
I'm gonna check him out to watch more footage on him. He seems to be all right. Might be a good little test for him, but I don't think it's anybody who threatens him at this point. But you know how
Yeah.
Top Rank is; they'll baby him up. Uh, I mean, I think you need to challenge him against even a Joe Joyce, even though he lost his last two to Zhang. He'd be a good guy to a Parker matching him up against
No,
those guys.
that's too
Argovic.
fast though. Let him work. Let him work a little bit.
I think, but man, he shows
After this
the
fight,
talent.
if we gonna test him after this fight, get him Andy Ruiz. That'd be a good fight for him.
What the hell's going on with that guy? Now
Nobody
they
want to
say
fight
his
him.
dad, according to what I'm
He's
hearing,
scary.
his dad keeps pricing him out.
He's
That's
scared
what I'm
too.
hearing.
He's scary.
Yeah, because how do you not make that Wilder fight? I don't give a shit what happened. Like I don't know if he thinks he's worth more just because he beat Joshua.
He was a
You were
champ.
a 10
Yeah,
second
that's
fan, bro.
another champ. That's another Buster Douglas.
You think he is, man? Look, man, I think, but the thing is he's working his way back. Now we'll see what he does against Ngannou on the 8th of March. But
Who you talking
Joshua,
about?
Anthony Joshua, are you talking about Ruiz being a Buster
Yeah,
Douglas?
yeah,
Yeah.
I
He was
said
for
he another
sure.
Buster Douglas.
He was
He
the
had a belt
definition.
and gave it right back.
Yeah. He was the definition of Buster Douglas. He definitely was,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
There's no doubt about it. He had his 10 seconds of fame, not 10 minutes. He had 10 seconds of fame and
And
just
you know that year,
off
if you
his
would have
shit.
betted it, man, how much money you would have
Oh
won?
my God, the money. Like that's one thing I've been learning about boxing that every fight I go into, I'm like, fucking put $10 on the underdog. Why the fuck not? What if he knocks this motherfucker out? You
Oh, that's
win
a
some
smart
good
bet. I
goddamn money.
wonder how much you
Bruh,
would get. I
bruh.
mean,
I'm telling you, every fight you go into, look at the
what was
underdog,
that
look at the
10? What
odds.
would that 10 turn into though?
Fuck, man. If you take a 10 against a big time underdog like that, like for instance, last week we watched a rematch of Carell versus Not and Shinge. The fight in November, Carell was such an underdog that $10 would have probably won you like 400 fucking dollars.
Okay.
You know, because he was not supposed to win that fight and he knocked him out in the second round. You know what I mean? So if you
Mm.
pick that underdog and that type of fight, I think they show you on there the odds of it. There's a couple things like
See,
betting I haven't really gotten too much
only thing I
into.
don't like about the bet and shit, you got to pick the rounds, and is it going to be to enhance the money? I don't
Yeah.
like that's where Vegas and all that shit get over on
But
me.
that's where you can throw like $10 to it. 10 bucks, $5 on it instead of being like, well, I'm gonna bet $20 that he knocks him out in the seventh round. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You can be like, well, I'm gonna take the underdog, you know what I mean, and put it on like the sixth or seventh round and just put $10 towards it. So, you know, it's not like a break the bank type thing. Like if I lose, I only lost $10. But if I win, now I might win some money. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that's the thing about it.
My daughter, she crazy.
Oh yeah, I get it. I get it. Like I said, I'm down in my dungeon, bro. I get down in
Shit.
my room. There is no
I
getting
can't
down
hide.
there.
It ain't nowhere I can hide. She coming to find me.
Hey, she gonna find you. You be in the closet, you be like,
Yeah. She talking about,
open
bye-bye.
up, Dad.
Okay, see you in a minute. I try to hide in the bathroom. Can't. Oh man, we skipped over the how we really feel about David moving up, man. 175.
Okay. Your thoughts were do you like it or do you dislike it? Because there is a David Morrell fight, but does David Morrell deserve a fight versus David Benavidez? Or okay, well, let's just put it this way. Is a David Morrell versus David Benavidez fight bigger than a David Benavidez versus Bobal or Better Be fight?
Hell nah.
No, right? Right? The casuals are gonna lean more towards the Better Be Bobal, you know, that the winner of that over a David Morrell who is what about 9 fights in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She
But
crazy.
yeah, so to me, I think like you said, I think I agree with you. It's a better move for him to move up in that fight, right? To get
Right.
himself the better if you're not gonna get the Canelo fight, because that's where we got sidetracked. We got so pissed off that Canelo's bitch ass won't fight him.
Right.
I mean, that has set us on this "we hate Canelo" rant. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's my thing. I think it's the best move. If you're not going to get to Canelo fight, you've already pretty much you beat Caleb Plant, you beat Boo Boo Andrade. David Morrell hasn't put in the work to deserve a fight at that level, in my opinion. I think his talent is there. Don't get me wrong. I think Morrell is a talented fighter, and
Yeah.
he'll be the next guy in the super middleweight division. But he hasn't in 9 fights. He hasn't earned a David Benavidez fight.
Right.
And he's going to get
All the
money.
work. I'm just saying, all the work people be having to put in. Sometimes that shit, motherfucker. Sometimes people be like, man, he got to put that work in, bro. I ain't take the easy route, and I still can't get the Canelo fight. So I'm definitely not about to fight
Yeah.
him.
Why sit around and wait for that dude? Like, don't let that guy dictate your career, as we said before.
Yeah.
And there's no way I would do that. I would say, what's my next best move? And that's him moving up to 175, where he's got a Bivol or a better Beeve. Either of those fights, even if he took the loser of that fight, that's a good fight for him either way. Even if Bivol loses and he fights Bivol after that, or better Beeve wins and he fights a winner of that, that's good either way for him, in my opinion. Even though I think better Beeve, I don't know how much you watch that guy. He's a fucking monster, bro. His straightforward, better Beeve. Have you watched him at all and what he does?
Oh no, I heard though. I heard he the type. I watched the highlight, but I heard he just like he walking through shit.
Just come forward, bully fighter. Come forward, bully you. And I mean, and he's got these short fucking punches that just put damage on guys. And like he'll take you the first 4 or 5 rounds and just wear you the fuck down. 6, 7 rounds, he just knocks you the fuck out.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Because you're just like, fuck, man, this guy's just putting a beating on me.
They saying they think he gonna be Bivol.
I think he does. He's got more power. Like I said, when I say, like, it's hard to fight off your back foot against a guy that's as aggressive as he is. Like, he's so come forward that it doesn't, like, he's just like that fucking rock that, no matter how much you're going backwards, he's just coming forward. And then he finds ways to get you on the ropes and just beat you down with these small, heavy hooks, uppercuts, shit like that. He's damaging. And his aggressiveness is like the best style. The best way it's just a bully style. Just pure bully. I'm going to get in here and I'm going to bully you into the way I want you to fight. And I think Bivol being a good boxer might help him, but I think better Beef gets him in the end because he's not going to be able to withstand those punches when it's all said and done.
Kids, bro. They throw me off for a little bit.
Hey man, mine are upset. I can only imagine what the fuck they're doing right now.
I'm gonna have something else set up though. They cool though. My baby girl, she Miss Busybody. That's that terrible, about to be that terrible too. So she do a little bit of everything. I want her to box, to be honest, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
You might be surprised, man. Like I said,
we got too many girly girls, man. We got two. I want her to. She a daddy girl though. But I wanted her to play some type of sport though, because I got too many girly girls, man. I got too many.
My 12-year-old is a girly girl. My 6-year-old, she's in between. Like, she's girly, but she loves boxing. She loves fighting.
My oldest daughter, I want her to hoop, but I want to be a cheerleader. Then she don't like cheerleading. I say, try basketball, girl.
Yeah. I want mine in soccer just so they run themselves out. Good. That's what I go play soccer so you come home and just pass the fuck out.
That's what I might do with my daughter. That's what I might do with my baby girl, though. Put her in soccer.
Put her until they just run. That's all they do in soccer. Just run back and forth.
I'm gonna tell her mama, like, they start when they were like 3 or 4.
Yeah, you can start them real young, man. You can start them in flag football. Which is something I've been seeing around in my area a whole lot, a lot of signs for it. Some flag football for kids starting from, is it like 5 and up? I think it is like 5 years old and up, shit like that. So yeah. But all right, news wise, I ain't got much more news on there. Of course, we talked about the best things this week. Of course, boxing isn't always going to give us a lot of news. Uh, this week, the fight schedule though, uh, pretty good little fight schedule. The only problem is it's in Japan. One of the main fights are, and that's going to be at 5 a.m. in the morning. 2 a.m. Japan time, 5 a.m. on our time, I think is what it said. So that's something I'll watch when I get off work. I'll catch that tomorrow when I get off work and shit like that. But that's going to be Alexandros. What the fuck did I name that dude? Santiago, Alexander Santiago, and Janato
What
Nakatani.
weight? What weight is
That's a
Santiago?
bantamweight. Bantamweight.
Okay.
Santiago is the belt holder with the WBC bantamweight title. Now, Nakatani is 26-0, and then Santiago is 28-3-5.
Okay.
Of course, Nakatani is a pretty good power puncher. I'd favor him in this fight to take the belt. Not much I know. I don't know too much about either of those guys. A little bit about Nakatani, but like you said, there's another Nakatani too, so I kind of get them confused a little bit on which one is which I just watched the other Nakatani on the last fight that they had in Japan. He was actually on that card.
Yeah, he fought Shakur. That's who fought Shakur when he moved up to 135.
Didn't he fight Loma too?
I don't
Didn't
see. I
Loma
don't know
beat?
about Loma, but I know he fought Shakur. Shakur dropped his ass.
Yeah.
Matter of
On
fact,
that,
I want to say Shakur stopped him.
yeah. On the undercard of that, you're gonna have which is a fight that was rescheduled, is what they're saying. Takuma Inoue, 18-1. He's gonna be going up against Derwin. Uh can't pronounce this guy's last name. He's a Spanish guy, but he's held the belt. He's held the IBF bantamweight belt for years now. Of course, this is two belts on the line in that fight, the WBA and the IBF, and this is a bantamweight fight also. So you'll have two main cards. The way they're introducing this is really weird because they're introducing it as the Santiago versus Nakatani fight is the main card, but when you read into it, it's saying that the Inoue fight is the main card on it. So it's really weird when you read into it. But that's going to be over in Japan on ESPN Plus about 5 a.m. in the morning. If you got a subscription, you can just catch that later on when you wake up and shit, instead of waking up at 5 a.m. for those fights.
Okay.
Then that'll take us into the nightcap, which we're going to get Edgar Berlanga 21-0. He's going to go up against Patrick McCrory, who is 18-0. That's a super middleweight division. We just talked about that division with David Benavidez, David Morale.
Yeah.
Now you had a guy like Berlanga coming up. I think Berlanga and Jaime Magia should already fought each other. I think that would be a good fight. But Berlanga is a New York fighter, Puerto Rican New York fighter. Started with Top Rank. He was on the up and coming, known for knocking people out. And then now he's kind of slowly gone down his last few fights. He's not the hype for him has kind of gone down a little bit. So this is a big proving fight for him. Like he's really got to go out and kind of put on a show against an undefeated guy who should probably be his best opponent at this moment for him. But I don't know. I like Edgar, but there's also signs that show me that he was maybe overhyped a little bit with Top Rank. And but look, on that undercard, you got Andy Cruz on that undercard.
When is fight? Tomorrow?
This is tomorrow. It's going to start around 8 o'clock. It's going to be on DAZN. You got Andy Cruz going up against Braylon Rodriguez.
Remind me, I got to check that out.
Yeah. Andy Cruz, man.
What is on Top Rank?
No. They're on DAZN now. They're with Matchroom.
Oh
now.
Yeah, just remind me what time. Yeah. What time them start? I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch that.
That's 8 o'clock start time for those fights. You'll have now DAZN is pretty good for showing a prelim on YouTube. You can catch like DAZN prelim.
Oh yeah, they prelims. Yeah, I know.
Yep. And they'll have some nice undercard fights on there, and then they'll go into their main card, which will jump onto their own platform. Which is, to me, I've got like a love affair with DAZN. Like I only like it because I get the boxing that I want sometimes, but then they started doing pay-per-view, and it went against what I was paying for. When I subscribed to them, they said no pay-per-view.
Okay.
We're gonna give you all the fights you want for free for what you're paying your monthly subscription, which was $25 here in the US. That's a
Mm-hmm.
pretty pricey for any kind of subscription, to any kind of like Netflix or anything. You're not even paying $25 for that shit. So I'm like, 25 is a lot, but I'm getting my fights. But then they signed Canelo and they decided to start doing pay-per-view fights to pay for his contract that they paid him. And then
Right.
now they're putting all their good fights on pay-per-view while you still pay a monthly subscription and still have to pay for your good fights all on pay-per-view. So I dropped them, and now I just find my other ways to get the fights for them. So you know what I mean. I don't encourage illegal streaming by any
My
means.
daughter find me everywhere I go. I tell
Yeah, they just at the door. Dad, dad. Hell yeah. Well, shit, man. I'm gonna let you wrap this up because I know my kids are ready to eat some food. I don't know what I'm gonna order, but I might cook. I might
we
order. Who
eat some
knows?
Captain D's, man.
Yeah. Oh man, where the fuck you got a Captain D's at?
Captain D's is I go to the. It's only one. If you ready,
Wow.
if you want to take that trip and Bond Hill, up there by
Dude,
Woodward High School,
I ain't seen a
right across
Captain
the
D
street, the same
down
one that been up
down
there for
south.
years. Huh?
Really? I ain't
Yep.
seen a Captain D since down south. That's
Yeah.
the only place I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
Uh, Grew up with that
They
shit. My
good
aunt
as shit
lived
too.
down in Ashland. Yeah, yeah. Oh
They
yeah, it's good as hell. Yeah, yeah.
good as shit,
Fucking
bro.
vinegar with that fucking fish.
They
Yeah,
ain't
yeah.
got the one they used to have. The one in Norwood. They got rid of that years ago, but that's the last one standing.
I'm gonna have to check that out then because I'm a big Captain D's fan.
Man, what? If
Big,
it
big.
ain't Alabama's, it's Captain D's with me.
Oh, Alabama's is fire. They put that greasy ass shit in a bag for you. Oh, dude, that their catfish is fire. Like I'm a big catfish fan.
Yeah.
Alabama's got fire catfish for sure. Uh, but yeah, man, let's wrap this shit up, man. Let you get to your daughter. She's been hunting you down. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
hunting down hunter, a
Yeah,
hunter.
yeah. Wasn't too much boxing news, but we got into the main news. We got you guys the fights that are going on this weekend. We'll do a little recap show for you guys maybe later on in the week, shit like that. But we'll get back on here with some big news coming up. We got the women's fight coming up next Saturday.
Yep.
Big time on that. 7-time division champion Amanda Serrano.
I heard about Amanda, but I ain't never
Oh,
watched
if
her,
you ain't
bro.
seen
I feel
Amanda,
bad. I feel
hey,
bad.
yeah, Amanda's a beast. She's out of Puerto Rico, but the girl she's fighting is pretty tough also. Amanda Serrano is with Jake Paul, actually. He signed her and got her. It's like she's making more than any female fighter out there.
Mm.
Even Marissa. Shit,
Marissa.
like, yeah, making more than, yeah, I called her Marissa.
Marissa said, yeah, it's only a few of them that ever made like $1 million in a
Dude,
fight.
she got $1 million for the Katie Taylor fight, if I'm right. And then
Okay.
her and Katie got paid $1 million for that fight, that Katie Taylor fight. That's got to be next for Amanda Serrano. She wins this fight.
What's the girl Alicia that fought and took her belts?
That was
It was in the Olympics. What's her name again? I can't think of her name. I know she is.
oh yeah. You're talking about she just lost a fight that she should have
Again.
won. She should have won. If you
That
watch
fight,
that fight,
I
she should
liked
have won
that
that
fight.
fight. Yeah. Michaela Mayer.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
should have won that last fight.
Yeah.
I thought she won, but she approached it wrong too. With
And
her
a
length
couple of them
and size,
shots though,
she should
old
have
girl
stepped.
was
She should have
she
stayed
wasn't
back.
pressing the old girl when she was backing off for real.
Covered in, boom, and
Yeah.
she was over aggressive. I think that's what cost her the fight.
That's how she lost against Alicia. You can't be over aggressive with no counterpunch.
With the size she's got, set back,
Mm.
set it
Mm.
up, and counter her. Let her be over aggressive, but she was the over aggressive fighter. So, but yeah, for sure, Michaela Mayer, nice little fight. But yeah, man, we'll jump off here. Give it a shot to our 50th episode, man. You know what it is.
Ooh, wait till we
Woo,
had
woo.
1,000 or something.
Yeah. Wait till we get
Don't
1,000.
jump
We'll
on
be
the
laughing.
like I
We'll be
tell y'all,
laughing
jump
at
on
it.
the wave now, man.
Yeah, you
'Cause,
better get
man,
on now because then when we're famous, we're gonna act like we don't even know you motherfuckers.
yeah.
Hey,
Now we gonna act like we
also,
know them. We gonna act like we
yeah.
know them. We need all the love and support, but we
He
might
won't
not
be
see
bougie. I
y'all.
might be bougie.
We might not be able to see y'all. We can see y'all right now.
Yeah. Also, I want to give a shout out to Marco White, man. That's one of my dudes from elementary school. I told him that I was going to mention the fact that he beat me out for class clown in the 4th grade.
Oh
And I
yeah.
also remember everybody that voted for Marco White. And I told you I was going to call you out on the show, Luke Taylor, motherfucking Judith Trisdale, Carly Manning, Tracy Haggis, all you guys that voted for Marco that should have voted for me. I don't forget shit. Marco. All right,
Yeah.
guys. Subscribe, like, hit us up on Spotify, all the
Nah,
platforms
man.
are on, man. You can listen to us. Let Big Spade take us out of the show.
Yeah, man. Thanks for tuning in to Bourbon and Boxing, man. We're gonna see y'all next time, man. We're gonna keep getting bigger, better, larger. Jump on this train now, because once it starts chewing, that means we taking off and we ain't looking back.
That's right. Get on the train or get left. That's how it goes. All right, guys, man. Thanks for joining us, man. Episode 50, baby.
For sure.
Peace.
Bourbon and Boxing.